In other coronavirus updates around the globe, the United States now has the most confirmed COVID-19 cases in the world. The country overtook China and Italy with over 85,000 cases and close to 1,300 deaths. Meanwhile, in a drastic move that amounts almost to a total shutdown of its borders, China has banned foreigners from entering the country. Only diplomats, emergency humanitarian workers, or those in necessary economic, trade, scientific or technological activities are exempted. The suspension will start on Saturday. In Italy, the overwhelming number of victims forced the city of Bergamo to send bodies to crematoriums in neighboring towns. Italy's death toll is over 8,200, with more than 80,000 confirmed cases. In a bid to manage the ongoing pandemic, the US Senate has approved a historic $2 trillion rescue plan. The measure cleared the Senate by an overwhelming majority and must pass the House of Representatives before going to President Donald Trump for his signature. Joining me now via Skype is US Bureau Chief Nirmal Ghosh to discuss the stimulus package and the overall situation in the US. The US Senate finally passed a $2 trillion coronavirus aid bill, the largest economic stimulus in US history. Now, Nirmal, there was concern that this would benefit big businesses more than the ordinary Americans. Has the final draft allayed those fears, and who would benefit most from it?
So broadly, this funding package is $3,400 for a typical family of four and $500 billion for corporations, $377 billion for small businesses, $100 billion for hospitals. So it is reassuring, it is encouraging, it keeps people afloat. There's been a record number of unemployment claims, over 3 million, the worst drop ever in America's history. And this is encouraging, but it is not enough, partly because it will take time to implement, and partly because in the near term, things are going to get worse, not better. COVID-19 cases are exploding in New York City, now in New Orleans. Hospitals in Atlanta were already at capacity on Tuesday. 100 doctors and nurses in Boston have tested positive for COVID-19. So let's take New York. New York in particular is a massive economic engine, and it gets $5 billion under this plan. But this is only for COVID virus expenses. It doesn't make up for revenue losses because business has come to a standstill. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said it sounds like a lot of money, but it does nothing for the revenue shortfall of $15 billion. And besides, the state has already spent $1 billion in fighting the virus. And in New York, the situation has most definitely not peaked. The state has around 3,000 ICU beds, but it needs 40,000. ICU beds are the important thing because COVID-19 patients need intensive care and spend a long time in intensive care, 10 to 20 days. So this aid/stimulus package is not going to help much in alleviating the situation right now or in the next days. It will need to be followed up with more. Vice President Pence today said yes, they will be looking at that. But as of today, the idea of reopening on Easter frankly looks unrealistic.
Now, while this bill will help to take financial pressure off, it will not mean much if the virus itself is not quelled. To the casual observer, the US response has not seemed to be coordinated, and the surge in cases could soon make the US the epicenter of the pandemic. How long has the US got to turn the situation around?
Right, so President Trump a few hours ago released a memo in which he said the administration would soon issue guidelines on social distancing, on the degree of social distancing required based on the data emerging from much wider testing. The idea is that areas of the country that are not affected can resume business as usual, presumably in a phased manner. Now, some hours ago, economic advisor Larry Kudlow was asked how long this economic stress will last, and he said he hoped it would be only a few weeks. But then he said it will be weeks and months. And that's what most experts are saying. The administration's 15-day lockdown, which varies across the country in terms of the degree of lockdown, ends in about a week. So that will be a time to take stock of the situation, whether the new daily numbers are showing any sign of coming down or at least leveling off. Right now, that's not the case, and Dr. Anthony Fauci put it very well. He, of course, is on the White House task force, and he is director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He made the point that it is the coronavirus, not us, that is going to determine the timeline. So one can say the next 2 weeks will be critical. But if in 2 weeks a new wave starts in hospitals as patients become worse, or if there are new waves of infection out there, then that goes out of the window.
Nirmal, obviously how a leader handles a crisis can usually make or break their reputation. There's been much criticism of the US government response, yet WHO officials praised the Trump administration's response to the outbreak. Could Donald Trump somehow come out of this more of a hero than a villain?
His ratings are up actually, and as usual, there are differences. Republicans say he is doing well, Democrats say he has not done well. Well, the longer this continues and large parts of the country have to stay shut down, the more difficult it will be for him to emerge as a hero. And then if he revives the economy somewhat by opening things up in some places, and there are more cases and more deaths, that will be a setback. He could still emerge in a positive light after all. The election is just 8 months down the road. He is blaming China. He says he knew this was going to be a pandemic. He acted fast and all the rest of it. So that is the message, even if it is sort of thin on reality, which is that the US lost containment a long time ago. Again, if the economy bounces back, say in the late summer or the fall, then he will look better. But certainly his handling of the pandemic will be the campaign issue once they get back to campaigning. One advantage is that he can take the credit for all the good things that are happening. The ramped up effort, and the rival candidate, whoever that is, has no part to play in this and can only criticize.
Thank you, Nirmal, for the sharing. Now, those are our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto Diman. Have a good weekend, stay safe, and we will see you on Monday.